Nate Diaz explains why Conor McGregor win wasn't his biggest moment. Nate Diaz doesn't consider his shocking 2016 win over Conor McGregor his best fight, despite its legendary status. Stepping in on 9 days' notice, Diaz stunned the world by surviving McGregor's early attacks, then rocking and submitting him in round 2. The upset made him a star and set up a record-breaking rematch months later, but Diaz has said that other performances showcased his abilities better. He said, "When we were talking about what was your best fight, I'm always like there are different ones, because everyone expects when they ask me that they expect me to go Conor McGregor. I'm like, bro, settle down, because Conor McGregor was a huge fight, humongous in my career, but there's different fights. It's like a timeline. That was the biggest fight when I fought Donald Cerrone. That was fighting a guy that I thought, you guys are all looking at this chat motherfucker. Nah, because he's the new thing coming from the WEC. So I beat his and was like, what's up? And to me, that felt like a big piece of my timeline. And I fought Takanori Gomi, and Gomi was the GOAT when I was kicking off. It was like Gomi and BJ Penn, and then BJ fought him, and that was the dopest thing you could have done. That's what I tried to do, what he did at the Rumble on The Rock. I can't do the UFC right now. I want something bigger than that, something better than that." Do you agree with Nate Diaz? Tom Aspinall reveals how fight with prime Daniel Cormier goes. UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall recently shared his thoughts on how a fight with prime Daniel Cormier might have gone down. Aspinall is just weeks away from his first undisputed title defense at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi, where he'll headline against former interim champion Ciryl Gane. He became the undisputed champion after Jon Jones retired in June and hasn't fought since he knocked out Curtis Blades at UFC 304 to defend his interim belt. Despite having limited title fight experience, Aspinall is already being compared to legends like Cormier, a two-division UFC champion known for his elite wrestling and heavy hands. In a new YouTube video, Aspinall broke down a fantasy matchup with prime Cormier, explaining how he thinks it would have played out. Aspinall said, "I say it every time I see DC. I think he is an absolute nightmare matchup for me. He's short, fit, keeps coming at you. He would have been a very, very hard work for me, but I believe I have the power to knock anybody out." Do you agree with Tom Aspinall? DC outlines path to GOAT status for Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira's path to being the greatest fighter in UFC history is becoming clearer than ever. After UFC 320, Pereira earned massive praise for reclaiming the light heavyweight title with a brutal 80-second knockout of Magomed Ankalaev, avenging his earlier loss to the Russian. That victory shot him up the pound-for-pound rankings and cemented his place among the sport's elite. With talks of a huge appearance at the White House next summer, Pereira is edging closer to true GOAT status. According to Daniel Cormier, if Pereira goes out there and beats Jon Jones, nothing will stop him from becoming the greatest of all time.
Alex is 38 years old and probably thinking at this point, how do I go and make another statement that I am the guy? Hell, if he went to beat Jon Jones at heavyweight, Alex Pereira, who's already considered one of the greatest fighters of all time, in the most expedited timeline I have ever seen, would literally cement himself to almost stand above everyone.
Chael Sonnen thinks Alex Pereira is serious about Jon Jones. After his win over Ankalaev at UFC 320, Pereira immediately called for a super fight with Jon Jones at the White House next summer. According to Chael Sonnen, most people who call out Jon Jones are simply bluffing because they are not actually wanting to fight him. They just want to use Jones' name for publicity. But Alex Pereira is different, and if he says he wants to fight Jones, Sonnen thinks Jones should start preparing.
I don't believe anybody's ever wanted to fight Jon Jones. I realize you'll find a couple of people that said it. I don't believe them. Yeah, I think that Alex Pereira might be the first person to ever call out Jon Jones. Where I actually think they want to fight Jon. This isn't about a main event. This isn't about Madison Square Garden. This isn't about pay-per-view points and legacy. And they actually want to fight Jon Jones. X's and O's, my skills versus your skills. Just so we know. Just so we can go on through this journey known as life and have the answer to this question. Can I beat you or can you beat me? I mean, it is
Can Alex Pereira beat Jon Jones? Sean O'Malley claims he's still the man to beat Merab. Sean O'Malley believes the third time might be the charm in his rivalry with bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili, though he admits he has work to do to make it happen. Dvalishvili secured another dominant title defense at UFC 320, earning a unanimous decision win over Corey Sandhagen in the co-main event. O'Malley, who has lost to Dvalishvili twice in the past 13 months, praised Sandhagen's defense on the ground, but also pointed out the champion's growing confidence in striking. Dvalishvili even hurt Sandhagen in round 2 and nearly finished him. Still, O'Malley believes he holds a unique skill that can expose Dvalishvili's weaknesses, something he thinks no other bantamweight currently has.
To beat Merab, you just have to land that shot. You have to be able to fucking snipe him. And he was getting a little bit more reckless. The more confident he gets into striking, the more gaps it leaves open to be caught. That's just the only. I don't see really anyone being. I do think I'm the only one. I hate to say it. I hate to fucking say it. I'm the only one that can beat him.
Although Sean O'Malley believes he's the only bantamweight capable of beating Merab Dvalishvili, he knows he'll need to string together a few wins before earning another title shot. His goal is to secure that opportunity in a high-profile fight, ideally taking place at the White House, which has become one of the UFC's rumored future venues.
I do think I'm the only one. I hate to say it. I hate to fucking say it. I'm the only one that can beat him. They give me a shot at the White House. Now I gotta go out there and get some wins. I gotta get some wins. But yeah, I don't see anyone really beating Merab anytime soon. He needs to be clipped, needs to be knocked out and put to sleep to beat him. And I just don't really see anyone other than myself being able to do that. Anyway, thoughts?
Is Sean O'Malley the one to beat Merab? Dylan Danis claims Islam Makhachev sucker punched him. Controversial MMA figure Dylan Danis recently shared new details about the wild post-fight brawl that followed Khabib Nurmagomedov's win over Conor McGregor at UFC 229. McGregor and Khabib's rivalry was one of the biggest in UFC history, and after Khabib submitted McGregor in round 4 to keep his lightweight title, all hell broke loose. A massive fight erupted inside and outside the cage between both teams, leading to multiple suspensions, including Khabib. Danis, McGregor's longtime training partner, claims Islam Makhachev, who was in Khabib's corner that night, also played a part. In a recent interview with Demetrious Johnson, Danis accused Makhachev of cheap-shotting him in the back of the head during the chaos.
It was like he jumped with his feet and his hands it was like the weirdest thing. So I didn't know what to block. I didn't know what to block a kick or
Like,
yeah, it was like I'm like this because I don't know. He jumped with his feet in the air and his hands up. So I was like, am I getting drop kicked right now, or am I getting? I should have just ran forward and tackled him. That would have been the best thing. But in the moment, I didn't know what he was going to hit me with. So he landed, and then we got into that brawl, and then security's holding me, and then Islam and all of them are fucking punching me in the back of the head. But yeah, during the whole fight, it was kind of building up, like in the corner, like no one actually saw it. If you watch it back, like I was sitting in the corner, he was like saying shit to me, and like Islam and them were like saying shit to me. And then and then against the fence, he was talking to us.
Justin Gaethje accused of ducking fight. Arman Tsarukyan has accused Justin Gaethje of avoiding a fight with him. Gaethje has been vocal about wanting his next bout to be for the UFC Lightweight Championship, currently held by Ilia Topuria. Although Dana White hasn't fully backed Gaethje's demands so far, the UFC boss might give in because of Gaethje's massive popularity with fans. In a recent interview, Tsarukyan claimed that Gaethje turned down the chance to face him inside the octagon, suggesting that the highlight isn't interested in taking on that challenge right now.
So I was asking about the title fight, and they said this year Ilia, he's not gonna fight, so that's why I said I'll fight to anybody because I haven't fought a long time, so I wanna fight. And then Hooker, Gaethje, works for me, these names. And finally, Gaethje, like I heard, like Gaethje said no, and Hooker said yes, so we are in.
Okay, so was Gaethje the top choice?
Gaethje would be better, but for me, it doesn't matter. It's both of them. It's just easy money.
With Topuria and Gaethje out of the equation for now, Tsarukyan has now shifted his focus to Dan Hooker, with the two set to headline the UFC Qatar card on November 22. A win could put Tsarukyan right back in the mix for a lightweight title shot. Earlier this year, he was supposed to face Islam Makhachev for the belt at UFC 311, but he was pulled from the event just hours before weigh-ins. Now it seems Tsarukyan is out of the doghouse and has landed a meaningful fight before the end of 2025. While many expect Justin Gaethje to be next in line to challenge Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title, the UFC hasn't made anything official yet. Demetrious Johnson explains why he doesn't want Conor McGregor and Jon Jones at White House. Conor McGregor and Jon Jones have been told by one of the sport's all-time greats that they won't be needed when the UFC heads to the White House next summer. Both stars have been openly campaigning to be part of what's expected to be the biggest event in UFC history, but Demetrious Johnson thinks they don't deserve a spot. Johnson believes current active fighters deserve the spotlight more than McGregor and Jones, who have only competed 3 times combined since the pandemic began. He argues that they're no longer the pinnacle of combat sports in 2025 and pointed out their lack of recent activity.
Iced is sitting there chilling. They get to pick and choose what they do. Maybe they earn that right. I have no idea, right? But for me, I want to see guys who are putting the fucking, rubber to the pavement. Whether and all the accomplishment Jon Jones has done, it's amazing. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that if we got guys who are on the roster who are fucking fighting their asses off, they should have the first dibs to get on the White House. Even for Conor, we don't need his ass on the White House, right? But I know him and Donald Trump, they got some good things going, but I just don't want to see other athletes miss out on an opportunity that are fighting right now. But
especially
Dana White seems to share that sentiment regarding Jones, though a McGregor comeback is still being considered. Do you agree with Demetrious Johnson? Jose Aldo makes his retirement official at UFC Rio. Jose Aldo has officially decided to call it a career again. The legendary former featherweight champion surprised fans at UFC Rio when his music hit, and he walked out to the octagon one last time. The Brazilian crowd erupted as Aldo stepped inside, laid his gloves down in the center of the cage, and tearfully waved goodbye. His family joined him to share the emotional moment, making it clear this was a special farewell. This is Aldo's first retirement. He initially hung up his gloves in 2022 after a loss to Merab Dvalishvili, which ended his hopes of another title run. During that time, he stayed under UFC contract but tested himself in boxing, including a memorable draw with Jeremy Stevens. Less than 2 years later, Aldo made a surprise comeback in May 2024, returning to Brazil to beat Jonathan Martinez by decision. He fought twice more, losing a close split decision to Mario Bautista, and then a war with Ayman Zahabi. Back in his homeland, Aldo retires for good with a 32-10 record. He remains the longest-reigning featherweight champion in UFC history with 7 straight title defenses and is a 2023 UFC Hall of Famer. Is Jose Aldo the greatest featherweight of all time? Conor McGregor predicts Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul. Conor McGregor has shared his thoughts on the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, set for November 14, 2025. Never want to hold back, McGregor spoke to Diaz Boxing and gave a typically honest take. He admitted that while he's curious to see how the matchup plays out, he's not personally invested in the outcome. He said, "Honestly, I don't know what to think about it. It's something similar to Jake Paul's fight with Mike Tyson fight. I don't care. I'm curious to see it, but I'm not involved in it. I'll watch it on X. I'll watch the highlights on X." Now 37, McGregor is currently serving an 18-month suspension for failing to provide accurate whereabouts information for drug testing on 3 separate occasions. The ban is backdated to September 20, 2024, which means he'll be eligible to return on March 20, 2026, just 2 months before his expected UFC comeback at the White House. Ex-UFC fighter killed in attack. Former UFC fighter Suman Mokhtarian has tragically passed away. According to reports, Mokhtarian was shot dead in Riverstone, New South Wales, Australia around 6 p.m. local time. He suffered gunshot wounds to the upper torso, and although emergency responders arrived quickly, they couldn't save him. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots from a red Audi, and police believe the attack may have been targeted or linked to gang activity. This wasn't the first attempt on the 33-year-old's life. In February 2024, a disguised gunman allegedly tried to shoot him outside the Australian top team during children's classes. And in April, authorities canceled the inaugural Dark Matter Fighting Championship, where Mokhtarian was set to coach over fears of a gang-related attack. Mokhtarian, known for his time in the UFC's featherweight division, had transitioned into coaching in recent years. His shocking death has sent ripples through the Australian MMA community, where he was a respected figure despite a turbulent personal history. Police continue to investigate and are searching for the shooter. That's all for today's roundup of the biggest MMA stories. Let us know what you think about everything we covered down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, as we've got a lot more MMA and boxing content coming your way, and you won't want to miss it.